How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have Christian Espinosa with us, joining us from UA, and he is the CEO of Blue Goat Cyber. So Christian, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
The 5 steps that I think have helped the most, number 1 is clarity. So having some clarity on who your ideal client is, what the messaging is for them, how you solve their problems, how you communicate with them. And once you have that clarity, it kind of illuminates the path. And that brings me to the second part, which is the second step is Kaizen. Because even though you've got that clarity, you're still going to need to refine it. Kaizen is constant and never-ending improvement. So if you start on the journey realizing that as you're on that path, you'll learn more and more about what not to do, what resonates, what to do. That's where that Kaizen comes into play. A lot of people, I think, get frustrated and give up, but practicing Kaizen will help with that. The third step is really mastering marketing and sales. So once you know, you have clarity on who you're trying to sell to, it's important to be able to attract them to you, either through your website, search engine optimization, through outbound, through partnerships, through conferences. You have to figure out where your people are and how to market to them. And then once you get the lead, which is the sales part, what is my process to take that person through our sales process and close the deal? That all had, without sales, there is no business. I would say step 4 is to build a great team, a team that is aligned with you, the entrepreneur, has your same values, and has the right intentions for the company. They have to think above themselves. And for me, I don't like any drama. Drama, it can be with your team, can be a big distraction and can take you away from fulfilling your mission. And then step 5, if you want to scale your business, you have to have systems and measurements. So standard operating procedures, key performance indicators. So if I hire new people, they're not just like ad hoc doing things. We have a very regimented system that I know works. And we have measurements that I know if I track these measurements, we're going to go on the right path and we're going to continue to grow and scale. So those are the five steps.
Christian, and the next question is because, I have here in this podcast, 5 steps how to make your first million. 5, 6, every 5, 6 entrepreneurs that I interview in this podcast, they are either tech entrepreneurs or real estate entrepreneurs. And people might have the wrong assumption that making money in tech is easy. I can become a millionaire very easy in tech. Because look, Harry, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6, they are all tech entrepreneurs. So, I'm gonna become tech entrepreneur. I'm gonna become a multi-millionaire because it should be easy. Look how lots of them, and and we never talk about the 98% that actually don't make it. We only see the 2% in this show that actually have a tech company and that thriving. Yeah, I see your product here. It's amazing what you have developed. So tell us, Christian, why do you decided to become a tech entrepreneur in the first place, which is something that is a very risky thing to do?
I did communications in the U.S. military, so I was in the military for a while. So I did cybersecurity, basically the military protecting classified data from other nation state actors and adversaries. So I just decided to rely on that background that I developed, and I did what we call penetration testing when I got the military, is like hacking into other people's environments. And then I started a company and sold that company in 2020. And then I had 6 blood clots where I worked for the parent company and almost died. And a medical device saved my life. It was a Doppler ultrasound, was able to quickly diagnose the blood clots.
Wow.
So I thought, this is the universe or God speaking to me saying I should focus on medical device cybersecurity, which I did some with my first business I sold. And that's what we do now. We focus on medical device cybersecurity.
Christian, but they are completely different when you are in the military, that you have your salary there. That I mean, for the military, there is always funding. You're never gonna lose your job. You save there. You know what I mean? Especially what you do, cybersecurity, you have a job for life there. Actually paying you a lot of money, being really comfortable. I'm sure that they make you very comfortable there. Why you decide to let all this go, all this security and save, and open your own company when you don't have safety for how much money you're gonna make? So why you made that change? Did you talk to your parents? Did they tell you maybe you're crazy? You shouldn't be doing this. why
Yeah,
why why you take this decision?
it was sort of an unlearning. I grew up very poor and chaotic, in a single trailer with a drug addicted mother and poverty, and very chaotic. So I wanted safety and stability at first. At least I thought that's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that in the military. I got that in a 9 to 5 job. But then I realized this is not really what I want. Even though I thought I wanted because I didn't have it, I'm very resourceful and I want to have more impact. So I had a run in with the CEO of one of my companies. I was a VP. It was causing me so much stress. I just decided to quit the job without having another one lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the blessing in disguise. That set me on my path because I thought, you know what? I'm going to become a solopreneur. So I did that for several years, freelance work. Then I started a company and I sold that company. So that moment where the stress got so much with that CEO that I just quit, I that was the moment that changed everything for me.
Wow. And then, Christian, let's talk about this very first company, because now you are building a tech company, starting on your own, right? You do have experience, you know your stuff, but you need to gather a team, and it's in technology. And then I like something that you said about your step, especially number 3, when you say focus in marketing and sales, because we have a lot of tech entrepreneurs that we advise, and that this is what they do. They take all the money and all the time and all the resources that they have to develop this amazing product that will change the world. And once the money is finished, because tech is really expensive, they remortgage the house. They ask all the friends, family for more money to keep developing the product going to change the world. And after everything is exhausted, yeah, then they come to me and say, Harry, help me to sell it. And I'm like, uh, you guys don't you guys haven't tested the market yet. You haven't put anything in marketing and sales. You haven't taken that prototype at least and showing to the people to see if they want to buy it. Now you take all the money, all the resources, all your time, and build this huge element. And now I had to we had to present to the market this, and now it's a huge elephant, and we don't know if people wanted it on the first place. So what's your view, Christian, or what message do you have for these tech entrepreneurs that they are so product centric, so I believe in, especially software developers, because you're a developer cybersecurity, that you create the product and you keep writing software and writing software, and all the resources go there, and ignoring completely that is you have to develop small prototype with the least resources possible and show it to the market to see if they wanna, and it's the client actually is gonna refine your final product. I never interviewed in this podcast any entrepreneur at all in any industry that the first product that they designed was actually the product that they took to market. I haven't found anybody yet. So what can you expand a little bit on that, Christian? Because even on your 5 steps, yeah, one of them, you said, look, focus in sales and marketing, focus in take your thing out there and listen what the market says. So can you expand a little bit more on that?
Yes, that's why my first step is clarity. So really understanding, like you said, you can build the best product ever if you may think it's the best product, but if you don't know what it does for your client, or your prospect, and how to craft that messaging, they're not going to buy it. We've had plenty of examples of those, like the Betamax versus the VHS. You know, there's lots of greater technologies that just weren't marketed properly because your new product has to solve a problem for somebody. You have to be able to communicate how that solves a problem. And the problem is not just a logical problem, it's also an emotional problem. So how you market and communicate needs to connect at an emotional level and deliver like the points of how valuable your product is. So they're connected at an emotional level. It's not just, oh, this will help make me more efficient or whatever the product is. It connects them emotionally as well. And I think a lot of people skip that step. Obviously, you just mentioned most people's first products fail, but that you have to do that first. Otherwise, the product may be great for you, but nobody else. And I think something that
That
helped me
happened to
with
you,
that,
Christian?
yeah,
Sometimes it
yeah,
happened to you. Did you develop any product sometime that you thought that was amazing, but when you're trying to take to the market, it was not there yet?
yeah. So we've developed products in the past, like cyber warfare training simulators for the military and also for commercial. So the military is a very different audience than commercial. Commercial didn't really have a lot of interest in it. So we wasted a lot of money developing that product and trying to commercialize it. The military obviously
And it
cares
didn't
about
work.
cyber
Yeah,
warfare,
the
but
military was happy with it, but that's it.
yeah,
Out there they were not interested, and you thought they could be interested, right?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because we never know until we don't ask them. We don't know, correct? We might have an assumption.
Yeah, I think before you're done with it's almost the opposite. Like you mentioned, people getting all this money and developing a product and then figuring out how to market and sell it. I think you should figure out how to market it and sell it first, and then build a product later that is a
100%.
fit for what the market is telling you they want.
100%. I agree with you that the whole way around. Yeah. Christian, so tell us about challenges and how you become challenges. You said that you develop one or second company didn't work so well compared with the first one. So how you deal with failure and how you overcome adversity.
I think part of being an entrepreneur is developing resilience. You have to realize it's probably not going to work the first time, and you have to be able to pivot. Um, and being able to pivot requires putting your ego aside a lot. I think a lot of us get trapped in you're just going to keep going down the same path, even though everything is telling you that path is not going to work. We're almost afraid to admit, like you said, that this path is a failure. This is the wrong area. So we just keep marching. And I think a skill you need to develop is to say, be able to relatively quickly realize, this is not working. I need to pivot over here, and I'm okay that didn't work. Now I know something that doesn't work, and you just kind of repeat the process until you figure it out. It's a lot of it's just not really trial and error, but that resilience, that Kaizen I talked about, the constant and everyday improvement, and then reflecting on ways to improve and putting yourself in the lens of your clients, looking at it through their perspective of what if you were in their role and somebody is selling your services to them, what would they look for? And I think a good tool for that is the brand script by Donald Miller. It's a very good tool that makes you look at the journey of a client and how you are the guide, not the hero in that client's journey, and how your messaging and positioning should relate to the client as a guide, not the hero. Most of us try to act like we're the hero in a relationship with a client, then that doesn't work.
Yeah, Christian, and let's talk about something very important. Before that, Christian, can you expand a little bit more in Kaizen what that means for our audience, because maybe they uh, they don't know what the analogy. Can you expand a little bit more what Kaizen stands for, so they can learn a little bit more?
Kaizen is a Japanese word. It's really a philosophy. It means continuous improvement, or some people say can I, constant and never-ending improvement. The whole idea with Kaizen is you're going to have challenges. And if you adopt the philosophy of Kaizen, you realize that. So it gives you the confidence to take steps and realize I may not get it right the first time or the second time, but as long as I'm making improvements, ultimately that's what matters. And then you have to make improvements the right thing. So part of Kaizen is also doing some root cause analysis and figuring out what is the root thing, the big domino I need to fix that will knock the other dominoes down. It's not just a little bitty things because that's a never-ending chase. You gotta figure out what is the big thing. Like if your business is not getting leads, there's probably something wrong with your marketing. So
Mm,
it doesn't matter how great or how bad everything else is in your business. It's not going to exist until you fix the marketing.
mhm. Yeah, like this, Christian. That a lot of people always they in the as an entrepreneur, you're trying to fix a lot of problems because you have problem accountant, you have problem this, you have problem everywhere. But if you can identify that problem, that if you solve this, we solve all your problems. You focus on that one, right? So what is the problem that if I fix this one, I will all of them will solve by themselves. And then as an entrepreneur, we have to be able to identify what is this problem, focusing in solving this one. That correct?
That's correct. You got to identify the big domino, as some
A
people
big
say.
domino, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Then the other question that I want to ask you, Christian, is regarding with ego, because we have, the entrepreneurs out there, they're suffering, and one of the reasons is because of that ego. Okay, I think that and we all been there, yeah. That sometimes we start the company, right? And at the beginning, when I started the company, I was making the whole company about me. I'm the boss. I don't want to hire anyone. I don't trust anybody. Doing everything by myself. Yeah.
Mhm.
And but you cannot grow like that. I was exhausted, and it was making a lot of money, but I cannot do it. My first property business. So until I surrendered my ego, and I said, okay, fine, let me hi people. I actually was not even surrendered. It was I couldn't actually operate. I was so tired, so exhausted. I was waking up
Yeah.
with the laptop in my lap. So I said, I cannot function. I cannot function anymore. I can, I have more than I can handle it, and I cannot function. I had to surrender to it. And then I started to hire people, and these people, everybody that I had, they were better than me at everything. One day I arrived to the office, they told me, Harry, go home. We don't need you. I'm like, what? My manager told me, we don't need you. We can run this without you. Go home. I'm like, how come? You don't need paper in the photocopy. I'm good. Bring the paper for the photocopy. No, we can get our own paper. Go home. So the whole point, Christian, is completely different when you have that ego that you centralize in everything, that you micromanage everything, that you are the business, that you are the product, you are everything, right? And it's a little
Mhm.
bit contradictory with what we do business in the first place, right? And sometimes we get this, and I think sometimes you go to organizations and you see that the people, like in the military, this is an order and we all have to follow orders. Yeah, which is also I want to ask you, because in the military they give you an order, you don't discuss, you had to do the order. In entrepreneurship, it's completely different ball game. You have to empower and enroll leadership, develop leadership, and and bring everybody together, and
Mhm.
and get out this mentality. So tell us a little bit more about that ego, yeah, because usually uh, I can tell you that most of the companies that are failing out there mainly for ego, because the entrepreneur doesn't realize that they need help and they have to learn something that they don't know, and because that ego is in the way, it block, and that's the reason why the company fails. So what's your opinion on all this?
I think this is part of the natural progression with an entrepreneur is the ego. For me, I when I first started the business, I was a solopreneur, and then I hired people eventually, so I could do everything very well. I was the best at sales, so my sales close rate was like 80%.
Wow.
So then I get frustrated if I had a salesperson that was closing at 50%. But then
Mm.
I realized I can only do, like you said, I can only do so much at a time. I can't go to
Mm-hmm.
sleep on my
Mm-hmm.
laptop and wake up with it. And so I thought, well, if I've got two salespeople and their close rate is both 50%, that's 100%. That's still better than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get three, that's 150%. That's double mine. So I had to look at it through a different perspective and realize what is the best use of my time here, and how do I empower my team to increase their
Mm-hmm.
close rate in that
Mm-hmm.
example. So
Mm-hmm.
I think It's a matter of letting that ego go and realizing, to me, the business should survive without me. That's the way I look at it. If
Mhm.
my business is successful without me, then I am successful. I've
Very
switched
good.
it to remove myself from the equation. And there's this African proverb that I think about sometimes. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team. So I always think I want to go far. I want to scale. I need to have a team. I need to empower that team. And then, like I said, if everything is going well, I'm not even needed. Like you said, you come to the office, they say, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah,
That to me
exactly.
is success. That means I have succeeded.
Yeah, but people don't see it that way. People have with the ego, like, they say, no, I'm the boss. I did this company. Everybody need to listen. And the ego stay in the way, which I think that they're missing the point. But Christian, I'm glad that you mentioned something because this didn't happen to me, by the way. Yeah, honestly, I need to tell you the truth. That didn't happen to me. When I hired my people, they were all better than me and everything. Probably because I was very bad at everything. Say, no wonder what I was, no wonder what I was so tired.
You're probably so exhausted.
I
Yeah.
was terrible. Anyway, that's why I was so excited. But then, Christian, a lot of entrepreneurs that we interview in this podcast, some of tech included, I have this question most of the time that if they had to start all over again, what would be the thing that they more pay attention to? And most of the entrepreneurs, especially tech, the answer has been always the same: hurry culture. If I knew that this business it's gonna cost me, it's gonna be 10 times or 100 times harder than I thought, and it's gonna take 100 times longer than what I thought, I will
Hmm.
pay more attention into culture, which is something
Hmm.
that you're talking about because when exactly like you described, you are a solo entrepreneur, you're surviving in your industry, you're very good at all the areas. Now you hire people that they need to be trained and they don't have your closing rate. They don't know the product as good as you are, but you have to bring them. And exactly, I understand because I've been there. You're frustrated. Oh my God, with our employees, that we hired. Sometimes, we hire them. Some of them they perform amazing. Some of them they don't, and eventually they're not with us anymore. So.
Hmm.
Um, how you turn this frustration in leadership, how you make that shift, how you overcome it yourself, that you say, okay, you know what, exactly like this guy, I had to let it go because rather than make them me to close 80, let me surrender to it. Let me empower them to do the best that they can, 50, 55. Let me try to find my own solution, try to 2 people, 3 people, let me look at the finance. And then you don't try to make them like you create that culture in the company that you start to surrender yourself, you start to understand that you cannot ask for them that they perform at the same amount of same level of you, at least at the first 6 months, and you have to be more open, more welcoming, more receptive, more supportive. And now you become like a trainer because this is what you become. After
Hmm.
you have a large company, you become a HR and training department. You want to hire the best people and to train them the best. You come and support it. That's you become. So tell us about this process. It was hard for you, or when do you realize that? Because at the beginning you were trying to push them. Okay, you know what? Try to be like me, but then you realize, you know what? I had to generate leaders in this organization. I have to put some the culture in place. So, what is your view on culture in tech companies?
So I used to hire people based on credentials and degrees and certifications. And I realized that 99% of the problems I had in my first company were because there's a cultural misalignment. My
Mm.
staff, they had on paper, they look good, but they didn't have the same values I did. And they didn't have people skills. In tech industries, you have a lot of super rationally intelligent people, high IQ, but low EQ. They don't have much emotional intelligence. And when you're dealing with people, because my company was a service industry, of course, it's going to cause friction with our clients because my team is going to talk over their heads, not make them feel appreciated or understood. So I decided to fix the culture and only hire people that were a good cultural fit. Uh,
Wow.
and then if they're a good cultural fit, then I looked at their technical skills because I I actually didn't care about their technical skills as much as their cultural fit. So I made that shift, and I wrote my first book about that, The Smartest Person in the Room. But then also something you said, I still struggle with it a little bit. I think, okay, I can
It's
manage
hard.
all the
It's hard,
projects right
Christian,
now.
man. It's
Yeah,
difficult, this
I think
process.
even today, I'm like, I
Yeah.
can manage all the projects. If then all of a sudden I start dropping the ball, I'm like, I'm at capacity. I need to bring somebody else in because I can no longer do it. My company's bootstrap funded, so it's a balancing act, right? I can't just
Wow.
hire people, because I don't have investors. So I have to be smart about it, but I also, you know, have more awareness where I'm not dropping the ball on so many things we lose clients. So when I realize I'm at capacity, doing accounting, for instance, that I need to bring on an accountant or a bookkeeper. So it's finding that balance and realizing you simply can't do it all unless you want to stay a certain size. And this is goes back to what your overall goals are with your business. If you want to stay a solopreneur, maybe you can do it all. But if you want to grow to $1 million or 25 million, you probably can't do it all. I don't know too many people that get to 25 million by themselves, as example.
Absolutely. Yeah. Christian, so let's talk about purpose because yesterday actually I was looking in YouTube and I was looking at the video of Steve Jobs, yeah, and he was talking about purpose. He was talking about you really need to love what you're doing
Hmm.
because so like this you keep doing because otherwise any sane person will quit.
Right.
Every normal rational human being will quit, yeah, because especially in the tech space. Tell me about it. I know very well how tough is out there for tech, how competitive is. Yeah. So then, Christian, tell us about when you find your purpose, when you have that passion, this pro that you have right now, like you describe it. It have been a call to you that this is something that you should be focused, that you love about it. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about finding your purpose. And I'm glad that you talk about the culture. In our organization, this is what we do actually. Yeah,
Mm.
but we learn by trial and error, same like you. Nobody come and told us, look, Harry, this culture
Right.
first, skill after. We never see that. We learn this by trying. Because we have the same issues. Not in my first company, but in the future company, we have the same problem. We have to focus in culture first. So then, Christian, tell us a little bit about purpose. Yeah, how you fell in love with this product, and because it has to. A lot of things have to tick the box. You have to be in love with the product, that have the right timing, the right market, solve the right problem at the right time. So it's a lot of combinations that go into place in order to to thrive, to success a tech company. So tell us
Hmm.
tell us a little bit about the journey and tell us a little bit more about this your latest company, your new products.
Yeah. So in Blue Goat Cyber, we do medical device cybersecurity. So what that means is we help medical device manufacturers or companies in MedTech bring a product to market because they can't get a product approved by the FDA in the United States or the EU MDR in Europe or whatever the regulatory body is. They can't get it approved unless it meets certain cybersecurity requirements. So this
100%.
could be an implantable, like a pacemaker, a defibrillator. It could be a surgical robot. It could be a drug infusion pump. It could be like that Doppler ultrasound that diagnosed my blood
Anything.
clots. Anything, yeah. And I'm passionate about it because it's niche down. It's not just general cybersecurity. I kind of think general cybersecurity is boring. Like somebody steals your credit card number, it's like whatever. It's an inconvenience. But if somebody hacks into a surgical robot that's
Oh my
performing
God, you
surgery on
can
your
die.
back,
People can die.
you can die. Exactly. And
Mm.
there was a case in the United States where, like Dick Cheney,
Really?
who was the vice president for a while, had his pacemaker, his defibrillator, the wireless function disabled because there was a threat where someone could wirelessly connect to the pacemaker, I'm sorry, the
Wow.
defibrillator, shock him over and over and over and kill him.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a little more
That was a
tangible
real
than,
story.
stealing your medical records or credit cards. Yeah.
Wow. Did you see? Wow, that's fantastic. I didn't know about that. Yeah. And
Yeah. and plus I like working with entrepreneurs, people with big ideas. A lot of people in the med tech space, they have a novel idea that's going to change the health of humanity. Like one of them we're working with now, they have this technology where they can take blood and basically dehydrate it to powder and then reconstitute it later on. So, this
Wow,
is very novel, interesting stuff. So this solves a
wow,
big problem. Like you don't have to store the blood, you don't have to transport it. It's weighs less, so you can store it easier.
wow.
We work with things like that that are altering, the course of humanity and helping people that really have a need. Even like we work with an exoskeleton device that helps children with MS be able to walk on their own with this device. So things like that, which I feel are very, life altering. It can really have an impact.
Yeah, MedTech Christian is definitely will change the world. You know that I've been when COVID comes and I was really ill. I have flu. Yeah, I was treated by a doctor and with the camera of the phone they could scan the body and they could see temperature, they could see symptoms, they could see. So there are a lot of technology out there, really, really powerful that even
Yeah,
with your phone and the camera,
yeah,
they have a software, they put a piece of technology that into that camera and they can detect heat and see your organs and see the amazing. So now, Christian, this is the biggest fear in the world, the the biggest fear in the world that everybody have, all the billionaires, the Googles, the the Teslas, the Amazons, the biggest fear all these huge companies have is cybersecurity. This is the only thing that they are scared. They are not scared about anything else. This is the only thing that keep all these people, all these billionaires at night, is cybersecurity. So regardless that people don't take it, like you said, people say that it's boring, that not take it seriously. Can you share with us, in fact, how important is cybersecurity in our life and in our business, especially if
yeah,
you're in medtech, especially if you're in medtech?
yeah. I don't think a lot of people think about it. Like MedTech is obviously a big one. Like if all the medical devices are down in a hospital, you're not going to be able to get treated, and people can die. Ransomware attacks at a hospital have caused delays in a patient with a heart attack, delay for having them admitted to the hospital, which has caused them to die. And we're moving towards these what we call cyber physical systems. It's like a Tesla, or here in Phoenix we have Waymos. It's an autonomous driving car. So there's more things that are autonomous that have a cybersecurity component to it. So there's much more risk because if I can hack into a car where somebody's a passenger and cause a car to speed up and go across the lane in the wrong oncoming traffic, I could kill somebody, right? Same thing with a drone. There's more and more things that are becoming more challenging from a risk perspective. Before we were concerned about somebody hacking your website and defacing it and stealing your
Mhm.
credit card information, but now we've got these surgical robots, and some of them are going to be autonomous pretty soon, where there's not even a surgeon involved. The robot is just doing the surgery.
Yes.
So just like that car is driving by itself, the robot's doing a surgery by itself.
My
So
dad got
imagine
an
somebody
operation
hacking
in
into these
Miami
things.
by the robot. My dad got an operation in Miami with the robot, and the doctor just did a little bit. Was the
Yeah, pretty
robot
soon the doctor's
helping?
not even going to be involved. Yeah.
Yeah, the doctor was there helping the robot. I think, calibrating the robot, putting the coordinate, but I think it was it was the robot who did the whole thing.
Yeah. So speaking of Miami, I was in the Miami airport last week, and they have autonomous driving wheelchairs. So if you need a wheelchair to get from
Wow,
one gate to another one,
really?
you a wheelchair shows up, you get in, and it just takes you to the gate. So
Oh my,
I always think, man, what if I could hack through this thing, cause it to speed up and run over a bunch of people? I just like I have to look at the world through that lens. But these things obviously they're connected to the internet somehow, so there's a vulnerability.
100%.
Yeah, and like a lot of those products we work on that can help somebody walk, for instance, if I can hack into that and cause it to speed up and go off of a bridge or something, there's more risk, like I said, involved. And
Yeah.
it's not just that. I think the biggest fear with cybersecurity is our critical infrastructure. Like
Mm.
most of our electrical grids, our wastewater treatment plants, uh, all the nuclear facilities, all these things are connected somehow to the
Mm.
internet. We like to think they're not, but I'm sure our adversaries are already into these environments, and when they want to, they can pull the plug on our electricity, for example.
And then, Christian, the other thing is that, because people don't take cybersecurity seriously, then you find the cybersecurity expert that they say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to steal all your things. I'm going to show it to you. And if you don't pay me, then I'll give you back. Yeah. So they can, which is something that goes into the into a structure, and this is also why do you think that this behavior is commonly worldwide, which is a lack of values and ethics, but apparently works, and then it's the only time that people, companies, taking cybersecurity seriously. Nobody take it seriously until you don't have a hacker that stole everything from you, and if you don't pay them, they're not gonna give you anything back. Why do you why needs to be to put in place in society so we take cybersecurity seriously?
I think nobody takes it seriously because they think it's not going to happen to them. Like, oh, I'm too small of a company, or we don't have anything worth stealing. But the cyber criminals are just looking for vulnerable people to exploit. It doesn't matter. It's not like they're always just targeting you individually. They have automated systems that scan for vulnerable companies, and if they find one, they try to exploit it. So there's that. And I would think, as much as it's in the news today, people would start paying attention. But I also realize cybersecurity is a cost for people. It costs money. It doesn't necessarily add a value to your product or your service. It's a cost. And the other part is, most cybersecurity experts don't understand business. So they try to sell you something like a 100-point checklist and say,
Yeah.
the small business owner, you got to do all 100 of these things.
This,
And the person's
this
like,
I
I
agree
can't
with.
afford to do all 100.
This I agree 100%.
Yeah. So for me,
They're way too
it's like,
far
if you can
from
do
entrepreneur.
5 things very well, that will reduce your risk. You don't need to do 100. Maybe when you're in your $100 million business, you need to do 100. Right now, when you're $100,000 business, you probably only need to do 2 of these things very well. And that thing should be prioritized based on what would reduce the risk the most. And this is actually very simple, but cybersecurity people like to overly complicate things, in my opinion.
Yeah, Christian, maybe in the future you can develop a product for a smart for startups. Yeah, something simple, affordable that everybody can use. Yeah, so
Yeah, for
because
sure.
at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to protect our business. And
That's another thing I
it's a
think.
cost. I get it that it's a cost, but
It's a cost, but
we
it's
have to protect.
also.
The other
I,
day, I was talking with my phone company. Yeah, now we're changing the plan and everything. We're changing the minute, the internet. I travel a lot, so I need more internet worldwide and so on. And they told me, okay, Harry, look, for £1 extra a month, we're gonna put a software in the system that we prevent for hacking the phone. Do you want it? And I'm like, I'm asking to the guy, man, what kind of question is this one? Of course I want it. what, what do you think that for me to save £1 a month, I'm gonna remove a cybersecurity software from my phone that that I'm gonna leave the door open
right.
like this? I said, "Look, this is no braining. This is what kind of question is this one? Of course I want it. Do you have a hired? No. This is only this. You don't have to do anything. You just pay £1 a month, and we put that software inside your thing in the service of the phone company. You don't have to do anything, but the thing will be operated, and if there is a cyber attack or everything to your number to whatever, the software will trigger and will stop everything." Amazing. You know what I mean? But still they're asking you the question, like, probably a lot of people say no just to save £1 a month with because I don't think that we have the culture there about cybersecurity, how important it is, and how damaged it can be. Like I told you, this is the only thing that keep awake at night all these biggest billionaires, the wealthiest people in the world. Elon Musk, yeah. You think that they can sleep at peace at night? No, they cannot, because they know that a cybersecurity breach can collapse the company overnight, and they have to be always on top of this, correct?
That's correct. I think there's a stat that says, I think it's 85%. It's either 80 or 85. 80% of businesses go out of business after a cyber attack.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're a small business, you might want to think about cybersecurity, because if there's an attack, you probably don't have a lot of reserves to recover, so that
Yeah, if
could
you
take you out
lose
of
all the
business.
yeah, please talk a little bit. I think it's important. Let's talk briefly. Let's say, for example, guys, if you have a small business, yeah, you're in a service business, and you have a cyber attack, and somebody goes there and take out from your computer all the data of your clients, all your phone numbers, and go inside your Facebook ad, whatever, and increase the budget or something like that. That's it. How you come back from that? How you come back? You don't have in a book written all your client's number. You don't have anything. So how you come back from that? Yeah, all the contacts from your phones, correct?
Yeah. Well, ideally, you've been proactive and have backed things up and plan for kind of
That's what
things
you
like this to
recommend,
happen.
Christian, right?
I definitely recommend planning for things to go wrong. Especially like losing the data on your phone, losing your client data. You need to have a backup of that, or make sure that you've done some things to secure it. And there's just simple things in cybersecurity that people don't do. Like if you just keep your applications up to date, your operating system up to date, you're patching them, that would greatly reduce the chance of an attack being successful. I mean, it's simple things like that.
Christian, and then one more question, and it's related with the tech company and the tech entrepreneurs. What advice, I'm glad that you shared something amazing, that you said that you're working with companies that they are in the MedTech space, and they're kind of partnering with you guys, yeah, and then you helping them to move this product forward, which is, I think that is really important, again, because we find again and again more geniuses, more amazing tech people, but they don't have the understanding about how business works, how to bring that to market. So a strategic partner like you, right, that can take that product, and with your experience, help them to get that product together with yours to the market, what we call it the strategic partnerships. Yeah. So if someone is listening to this podcast and they are inspired by our conversation, and they have an amazing MedTech product that they want to bring to market, they want to partner with you, how they can find you, how the process works?
Yeah, they can find me on my company website, bluegoatcyber.com. And on there, we have a link where they can just schedule a discussion with us, a discovery call, or they can submit a form to us or give us a call.
Yeah. And Christian, last question: why you haven't found investor? You clearly are very investable. Yeah. You have the best recipe for the investor. You already exit one company and you fail the second one. So for the investor, it's like, this is my type of guy. Because now I got a real entrepreneur on top of me. Now someone that knows how failure and come back from failure, and so already have an exit. So you are the gold mine for the investor. They should be throwing money at you. Why you don't take it? Take it.
Well, there's a couple of factors, right? The first thing is, if I get investors, typically you have to give up part of your equity of the company. So I'm not sure I'm ready for that. So the other thing is I'm working to structure my roadmap, my strategy, get my books organized in a way where I can get a line of credit from a bank, or I can go through accredited investors, which will give me a loan or line of credit without having to give up equity. It's really, to me, it's about the equity balance. Because now, if I get all these investors, I have to answer to somebody else, which is kind of like working for somebody else, right? So it's like, how do I manage this? Because
why are you doing
I don't
this
want
in
to
the
be on
first
the
place?
phone
Yeah.
every month explaining
But
things.
sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they bring contacts. Sometimes they're in the MedTech space. Sometimes,
Yeah, it's like the
sometimes.
Shark Tank investors that they have all the contacts and they can actually bring me more business. That may make more sense. So yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Right now, I'm trying to get everything organized where I can best position myself to investors
Mhm.
with a pitch deck and everything like that. So I
And
have
have
to
a
have.
conversation. I have an open conversation with them to say, look, this is what I have. I'm happy to share, but I'm already an entrepreneur. I take my own decisions. I have my experience. I'm happy to consult with you. Yeah, some
Of
of them they're
course.
good. Some of them, they're there to support you and to empower you and have content. So why not? However, look, what I'm saying is that you are the gold mine for the investor because this is the type of tech entrepreneur that are actively looking. Yeah, number one, the one entrepreneurs in front of them. They sometimes we see a lot in the venture capital space. Yeah, then entrepreneurs are looking for funding. Yeah, I've been in these meetings a lot, and then the VC just go and tell them, look, um, call me in your next venture. So
Right, right.
what they're saying is, look, you are amazing, but you're not an entrepreneur yet. And I only invest in entrepreneurs. So they want to invest in someone that has some failure, meaning, that had gone to this process that know, well, if I mess up and I take a wrong decision, I can take, the company can fail. So the investor want to have this reassurance that they are supporting and backing an entrepreneur. And this is the real challenge that we have with the startups, that the people out there develop product, what we talk, they are very passionate and everything, but they're not yet as mature as an entrepreneur, and the VCs and some angels investors find it challenging to invest in that type of project. So what message do you have for these tech entrepreneurs that they're getting the wrong approach, yeah, or yeah, we can call it the wrong approach, that they develop the product, and after they develop the product, they haven't sold it, and they're like crazy looking for funding, which is really challenging because nobody's gonna give you everything, because they're not gonna give you the money to test if your product sells or not, and they are in this mindset that they are trapped and losing money, rather than grow the business exactly what you are doing, which is bootstrapping. So you have your business, you have a little bit of sales. With these sales, um, you hire some people. Any of my business, I never find funding. Yeah, I'm the same like you. I never have invested for any of my business ever in
Yeah,
the history of my life, in any of them. Yeah, the but this is me. Everybody's different. Yeah. So, but again, Christian, because all my business have been this process exactly. Some of them, the companies that we sell 5 million, it took us like 10 years. Because you had to, leader by leader, you make the profit, and then the profit you
mm,
need to hire some people, and then you need to grow a little bit.
yeah,
You have to balance this, and then again you make some sales, and then if you take
yeah,
much stock, then you cannot hire the people, and you need to balance and balance and balance and balance all the time. However,
yeah.
eventually it works. Eventually your employees send you home and said you don't need it anymore. So yeah. And so what's your view? Last question. What's your view for those startup founders that they are resisting to become an entrepreneur and to take the product and sell it and make a profit and grow it, bootstrap exactly like you're doing, and they want to go what we call it the short path, like develop a product and let me try to find an investor to give me money to see if I can sell it, and at the end of the day, this is a recipe for failure, right?
It is, and I think what's important is to understand your market, how big the market is, what before you even come up with the idea, what your price point is that they're willing to pay, and if you could even make a margin on that. A lot of people, like you said, they'll produce a product and then try to fit it to the market where they may succeed, but that is a much more risky move. And that's why investors probably won't give those people investments because they're like, you're pretty far down this development cycle and you skipped a lot of the fundamental steps. That's the way they're looking at it. So I would even think about if I was just starting out and I need money, crafting my pitch deck. Because if I craft my pitch deck, I have to go through like, what is the market size? How do I solve the problem? How do I position myself? Do I have any competitors? You have to walk through all that stuff. And it's better to walk through it sooner than later. So just thinking about it from at the beginning, like if I were to get an investment, what would I say? And there's common things that go into pitch deck. I think that would give people a lot of clarity, which was my number one step, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Christian, thank you so much. We are, I think you're brilliant. You are amazing. Yeah. You made my day today. Thank you so much for participating in the broadcast. We really appreciate. And for all of you following the Unstoppable podcast in Apple, Spotify, and on all our social media, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable. How brave entrepreneur like Christian break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.